today. It's back in Studio A, and I didn't get everything ready in time, but when has that ever stopped us from doing a show? This is ChillPoint. Hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint. You've got myself, Beej, and you've got Heather today, and Paul is busy on the ones and twos, but on the seaside. He is making things happen.
We threw him in the ocean.
We threw him in the ocean.
And he has to do the 1 and 2 tap dance of death to evade the waves.
Yeah, we've done a chill point before, I think, without Paul, I think once.
Yeah, we don't actually need to wear these.
Yeah, we don't even need these microphones. We've done a thing with
Back in the microphone.
We've done
I mind the joke, but actually use it.
We've done it, I think, one time before where Paul didn't show up. I can't remember when that was. It doesn't really matter. This is a time then for Heather and I to come into the same room and to get all of our drinks out.
Okay, so you got that one. I got this one.
Yeah, I got this one.
Okay, and then I also this one.
Okay, great. And we'll just share.
I don't really want any of that one.
Then I'll just
That's
finish.
Mystery.
It's almost done.
And yeah.
It's lavender lemon mint, and some days it tastes like bubble gum, and some days it tastes like soap.
Yeah, this was a London fog thing that someone didn't want. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in the universe. And it was lonely, and it felt bad.
So you decided you'd have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. I like it. It could be sweeter because it's iced, right? So it's like the sweetness doesn't come quite across.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's all right. This is ChillPoint, and it's a show where we drink lots of different drinks. And
We
burp
step
into the
over somebody
microphones.
else's bits. Mm-hmm. We have 4 drinks.
Yeah, 4 drinks.
4 drinks.
We're gonna. Let's be clear. We didn't have a checkpoint this week, and that's fine for me because holy crap, it's been a bit of a busy week for people.
And I told Paul he didn't have to do any news roundups.
So we're going to just kind of rely upon some of our regular sources and looking at things and just having a good time ourselves.
And then derail our own things.
Why not?
Because no one can stop us. Paul's not here.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a letdown in the sense of there's no challenge in that then, but
Right. But
I'll get him next week.
yeah, I do have things set up. I'm gonna hit with which is the most important thing to me is there's another T-shirt I need to get.
Well, I mean, technically there's 2 because you don't have any of the American.
I don't have the
ones.
New York one, and I don't have the San Francisco T-shirt yet either. So I'll have to get those at some point, which means visiting the stores or which are not going to happen for a while.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not. No.
Definitely not interested in somebody buying the T-shirt and mailing it up here, because normally I'd be all about that. Hey, free T-shirt, I'm totally game. However, tariffs at the border are a lot higher than they used to be.
Right.
So it would cost me about as much to pay to get the shirt into the country as it would for you to buy it in the first place.
Right. So what someone really should do then is buy the shirt, tackle somebody at a magic convention that's not us, and be like, this is for Beach, and then bring it over. Is what you're saying.
Definitely not going to spend a lot of time trying to get back to the United States in New York or San Francisco just to pick up shirts. So that's fine. But yeah, the new San Francisco store for Nintendo's new San Francisco store opened properly. Wrong mouse. Opened properly on the 16th. So last week, and it's all very nice and red and white, and you can see there's lots of there's lots of stuff
to buy.
Looks like water bottles. These are the T-shirts. They either come like this or they come in a cube.
They come in tubes or cubes.
Tubes or cubes. And they have a few other photos in the gallery of things you get to do, so that's kind of neat. Mm-hmm.
They have the giant statues. This
it's
is
merch,
actually,
right?
I mean, this is considerably a large deal if you want to buy stuff, because a lot of this is stuff that you could previously only get at the Japanese stores.
Yeah.
The New York store did not carry a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
The San Francisco store has.
And we went to the Tokyo store, the Kyoto store, and the Osaka store, and they were much the same as each other. Like when we did the Kyoto store first, which was great, and to see like when you go to the other stores and be like, oh, these are It is the same stuff. There's not that much that is
Generally, there's like maybe a couple things depending on the store size or like if they're out of stuff or whatever. But
it's really just the T-shirts, and then they had a branded pen, and then they had like something else that was also like, this is local to this region, and that's it.
But you're just talking about store exclusives.
Yeah, store exclusives. Yeah. The Pikmin stuff.
You didn't enter the Nintendo store and they only had a T-shirt and a pen.
They have the little. 1, 5, and 10.
The little containers I kept looking at and then chose not to buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So
there it is.
Which?
The green thing. That's
the green cardigan.
That's the Korok cardigan. They definitely didn't have that in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
Yeah, that shirt I was wearing yesterday. The one that's over here. So that's cool. That's not the same hoodie that you bought.
No, that's a pullover hoodie for one.
It's not one of these.
It's also it's not the same one.
It seems like there's a lot more apparel because I'm seeing jackets.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff in here that we didn't see in Japan. So I guess you're special if you're in San Francisco.
There'll be lots of stuff to see here. They did a little promotional video.
Also, I don't think we had any Pokemon stuff.
No, they didn't,
because they have all the Pokemon centers.
Yeah, so they tend to put it all over there. Okay. I remember seeing this in Osaka, I think. Or
because you could go get a custom Switch.
Yeah.
By which I mean you could order Switch and decide what color Joy-Cons you wanted.
Yeah, and look, they even have different color wrist strap things to go with it as well. Cool. 2 stories. That's neat.
Yeah. Well, so my understanding of like the New York store is that the upstairs space is kind of like a bigger area for them to watch stuff that's like Nintendo Directs and live reaction things, because they film those, they put them up on social media and whatnot.
And I do not remember seeing the hoodie, but we just saw it for a second there. So yeah, there's some interesting things between the different stores. These are fun to go into, and when we went to the Kyoto one, we definitely spent a lot of time in that one. We spent probably like an hour and a half.
Well, because it was the first one we went to.
And we had to look at everything, and then when we got to the other stores, you realize that, it's much the same stuff.
Was it the Tokyo one we noped out of because it was so busy between that and the Pokemon Center that I just didn't like being there?
Yeah, they're both in a Parco department store in Shibuya. And we got up to the floor. What they like to do is they put all of the nerd shit on the same floor. So the Jump store and the One Piece store and the Capcom store and the Kirby Cafe. And like, if you're going to a place that has one of those things it's going to be on the same floor as everything else. All the character goods are all on one floor, essentially. The Crayon Shin-chan and Godzilla and Tokusatsu stuff. And the other place we went that wasn't like that was there was one place that we were in Osaka where on a different floor is where all the Gundam stuff was, because Tamanashi Nations was doing a satellite store in this one location to put up a bunch of stuff for not just Gundam, but for like every kind of like stand-up thing that they made. They do the nerd shit, I think, pretty well over there. There's we ended up in a lot of places where you can find lots of character goods, and it would all be just on one floor.
They either do it really well there, and we do it poorly here, or I've never figured out where they put it here.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you definitely can get a shirt with San Francisco written on it. So,
yeah,
that day will come. But the reason why I want to open this is because of this news. Nintendo will be opening the 4th store in Japan.
Where?
In Fukuoka.
Oh, we went there.
We did not. No. We didn't go anywhere near there.
No, that's right. That was the place that the airplane was calling for that.
Yeah.
And I was making fun of the Americans who I was glad weren't on our plane.
Yeah. So
they were loud. They weren't any of you, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's in Hakata City, which is very funny because the 3rd Kirby Cafe, the Kirby Cafes are in Tokyo, Osaka, and Hakata. And so this is probably going to be in the same place, I'm sure, in the same area. It is Fukuoka is the 6th largest city in Japan, capital of the Fukuoka Prefecture, and located within the Kyushu Island, and we have never been to Kyushu. We have been close because we went to Hiroshima. We didn't go to Nagasaki or the other places. So the next trip we take, at this point now, the next trip we take...
End of 2025. Yeah, by the time we go, you'll have to go there so you can get your
Fukuoka
shirt.
Yeah, which will be good. And that's like, if that stays open for, hopefully if... hopefully it will stay open for 10 years because we're not going back for a decade.
God, why do you keep saying that?
Because it'll be interesting again in a
I feel
decade.
like you keep jinxing it. Why can't we be like other people who take vacations more often than 10 years?
You go back in 5 years? You want to go back to Japan in 5 years?
About 3.
Well, we could talk about that. That sounds pretty good too. So, yeah.
What if we convince a whole bunch of other people to go with us, and we tell them we have to go here?
Okay, so if everybody goes to Japan, then we will, at least you and I will find time to go to Kyushu so we can go to Fukuoka Nintendo and actually pick up a shirt for me.
Look, I'm sure if we just keep talking about going to Japan enough,
yeah,
I can convince somebody to pay me.
I'm just going to be like, we're just going to summon that into the universe at some point.
Yeah. This isn't a promise chat.
Yeah.
This is just me trying to summon another vacation for me.
Yeah, this is not like, I mean, we can manifest this shit into the world, right? The secret is real, you know, the hermetic ideal, as above, so below. You know, it's like we can make all this shit happen just by saying to ourselves that I'm going to go to Japan again, and then it'll happen, right? I keep telling myself that every time I buy a lottery ticket.
Right.
Right.
So look, when you blow out a birthday candle and you make a wish,
Yes.
do you tell people what you wished for?
No.
Why?
Because it's embarrassing.
It's because the wish won't come true if you tell people.
Right. Yeah, that's why. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you telling people about the secret and why you're doing a thing like that, it's not a secret anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then it won't come true.
You're the one demising your own stuff.
It's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So
stop sharing secrets.
Yep.
If you want to do that, you should come on my secret podcast show.
Yeah.
Secret podcast.
If you
which
also,
no one knows about, and the more I talk about it, no one can hear what we're saying. It's like the mics are dead.
if you do go to Hiroshima, sorry, not Hiroshima. We did not go to the Hiroshima Bunny Island, I don't think, when we
No,
had gone
we did
to
not.
Hiroshima over a decade ago. If you do go to Shibuya for any reason, the Fangamer Japan satellite store is there, and it's not big, but it is there, and so you can also go there too. So keep that in. It's near enough to the Parco, but it's not like beside it or anything. But it's kind of on the way from Shibuya Station.
I think I posted it on my Blue Sky, but I found like a little pouch with like Hollow Knight characters all holding Hollow Knight merch.
Yep.
And it said Fangamer in Japan for 5 years or something.
Yeah, celebrating 5 years of
So
Fangamer Japan.
I found like an exclusive piece of merchandise there.
Yeah, it was cool because I don't think there was much else that was actually exclusive. So
Outside of like folders.
yeah, that's true.
Because folders are a bigger deal there.
Yeah, they do the paper folders. The pencil boards is what they used to do a lot of, but now they do folders.
And these are like
instead
a
of
very
pencil boards.
thin folder. I know we have folders in North America. It's not the same thing. I didn't bring any.
Yeah.
Because I don't bring show and tell stuff. That's, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, we weren't going to do a whole show and tell about our trip here on this show. That's fine. Other Nintendo things that are happening. There's a cow in Mario Kart World.
Yes, it's very popular amongst people because it's a cow.
Yeah, and the reason why apparently is literally because of what we're looking at here is because of all the cows on Moo Moo Ranch. That they were thinking, well, what's something fun that we could add, like another thing we can add to kind of hype people up, and they received the like a sketch. The person who was working on stuff received a sketch, and it was like, oh yeah, here's this challenge that you can do to try to race your way through all the cows, and someone
drew a cow driving a truck.
Yeah.
And they were like, we put cow.
Yeah, Masaki Ishikawa was like, oh yeah, somebody sent this to me, and I was like, oh, this is it. And they're like, that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna put the cow in the game.
Everyone I've heard who's managed to make it to a hands-on event for this game, always plays the cow. Because I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's new for one thing, and also it's just kind of this weird thing.
Yeah. And it's so, because it's like, it doesn't really, there's no reason to think that this should belong in the Mario universe at all, because it is just a cow. It's not like Clarabelle the cow, or like, so it hasn't been named or anything, right?
Well, yeah, because that's the other thing. It's not like, it's Blooper and Goomba and like other Cheep. This is just cow.
This is just cow.
They didn't be like, oh, we'll call it Moo Moo or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just cow.
Just cow.
Thought that was fun.
It's going to be the most popular character.
And that's over and there wasn't much else that I was seeing in here. Just a lot of excitement for Switch 2 stuff right now, obviously. Everyone's really excited. I mean, I was really excited to find out that apparently Yakuza 0 is coming to Switch 2. And I didn't know that. So I found that out today by just reading through the stuff.
I mean, it's out in like 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks now?
Yakuza 0? No,
It's
Switch 2.
Switch 2.
Yes.
I mean, I have no idea about Yakuza 0.
Yep. Yeah, thought that was cool. Nintendo filed a trademark for Hotel Dusk, not just on Wish Room, but they filed it for the name Hotel Dusk as well. So it was like, what's that mean?
You hopeful of a remake or a sequel?
Who knows?
I mean, they did a sequel to Detective Club, whatever.
Yeah, Famicom Detective
20,
Club.
30 years later.
And still making like merch. Like when we went in one of the
that
Nintendo
merch
stores,
is just weird.
the MEO merch, they actually had like a tote bag you could get that looked like the paper bag with a smiling face on it, the creepy smiling face. You could buy that as merch at one of the Nintendo stores. I was like, that's terrifying. Great. I'm glad you leaned into that at least.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and just lots of news on Nintendo Life, of course, about Switch 2 and about here's the new things that are coming out and the launch events and like, other stuff that they're going to be doing. And there wasn't really much else that was going on. There was this interview they did with Lost in Cult, which is it's another company that makes special editions and physical games.
They do some books and stuff.
Yeah. And I
think I have one actually.
They're leaning into their physical thing here to be like, we want to make the best physical versions of video games in the world. Like in the interview I was reading real fast, I'm like, oh, they seem like the dude is giving the impression that they are incredibly devoted to it. And I imagine this is a very good time to be doing that with the fact that the thing about the limited run having two separate collections of games, right? Where it's like, oh, we do have some where we don't make the decision about whether a physical game actually has the whole game on it. And I'm like, yeah, I imagine now is the time for you as a physical game developer to get your name out there to be like, we only do that, and that's all what we do. So, let's move on to some other stuff. For example, did you know that? You know who this is.
Yeah, Esky.
Yeah, so the Clair Obscure devs...
I don't think that's quite how you pronounce it, but yeah.
They're looking into making official Esky plushes because online there are a bunch of ads for unofficial Esky plushes.
I had heard about that
being produced.
Yeah. I hadn't seen him yet when I was them. Yeah, let's say them.
Sure.
I haven't seen them yet when that story originally came out, so it was just like, I don't know who that is, and now I have, because I've seen to the end of Act 1.
Yeah, so they're saying, hey, we've seen all these websites popping up, and they claim to sell the plushies, and we're not happy about that, and so do not go to them. They're using AI-generated artwork and stuff. They could be scams, and then they follow that up with, we are looking into making these plushes, and please be patient, don't get scammed. So they might not actually end up making them, depending on the cost.
They might not be able to, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's probably one of the better characters to do it with. Again, I've only played to the end of Act 1, so I don't know what other characters. You don't know if
Esky turns evil, or.
I mean, I'd be very upset if anything happens to Esky.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's making a real emotional connection with a character. That's exciting.
The whole game is all emotional, Beach.
Yeah,
the whole game wants you to feel emotions.
That is what I understood too. And then then we found this as well. This just got posted, I believe, today on 23rd. Yeah. Fortnite leaker says some matches can be over 90% bots now, which is sounds like it sucks.
Well,
for Fortnite players,
I don't know. Might be really good at Fortnite then.
Paul was telling me how he saw a video a while ago how somebody was in the game and they were looking and there was just a huddle of 30 different people all together and they were all moving in sync and moving around the map and stuff, and it's like, okay, bots.
I mean, probably. Yeah, it's hard, right? Because there's I know when it comes to games like this, they start doing some fill-ins with bots just so that people don't, people can
You're not waiting to actually have the room fill
you
up.
play the game and whatnot. And if there's only like a couple in there just to finish up the game, what does that really matter? But then in instances like this, I've heard stories where people start to pretend to be bots.
Yeah.
In order to psych out other people or gain that advantage that way.
Right. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Never click an ad.
Never click an ad.
I mean, it had an X in the corner. I'm like, I'm right over top of it. I can click that and even close that one. It's like, no.
You wouldn't download an ad, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I guess it's one of those like necessary evil. Oh, I like bots don't cheat. Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. So, I guess that's probably true. I mean, who knows? Well, I mean, sometimes a computer will rubber band and stuff like that, right?
It's the Pokemon TCG game added in ranked battles, and I went and played a few of them. And at first, I was like, "Oh, okay, this isn't so bad." But then I realized I'm playing against, because I'm at the super low level, and I waited a few days to go do it because I play the game to open the cards, not generally do whatever. But there was like a thing that was like play a few games, get currency or whatever.
Sure.
And the first few games I played, I realized I was definitely playing bots of some kind. Because who puts energy on a card and then doesn't attack at all when they can?
I don't know.
Just
Fools?
Skips it. It's just, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, this kind of sucked. But then I got further up and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely fighting real people now. But I stopped playing because all the people that you're fighting now are doing things like they have 3 or 4 Pokemon in their deck that are only really powerful cards. And I'm pretty sure the way the game is set up is like if you pull your opening hand, you have to have a card that you can put down to play Pokemon, which means if you only have like 4 Pokemon cards in there, you're going to have your most powerful thing out immediately. And there was just no... I made a really neat, clever combo deck, but it can't outfight a thing that once they get 3 energy on can blast everything, kill me. So yeah, it's ranked mode is not fun in that game.
Okay.
It's either really boring because you're fighting bots, or it's really awful because the people that you are fighting aren't playing in a fun way.
Oh. What does that mean when you're not playing in a fun way?
Again, they're just making an auto kill deck that can kill you immediately, and you have no chance of winning.
Right. Okay. I mean, I used to, make stuff like that in Puzzle Quest. But then I also knew that I was playing against other people who weren't real people. I knew that I was playing against other people's decks that they program into the game, and then the game makes decisions based on that.
You're supposed to be fighting against real-time people.
Yeah. So they're people who can actually make mistakes as opposed to a computer that is playing somebody else's deck for them. Yeah. Except they don't make mistakes because they just make an auto-kill deck and...
Make a thing with a really powerful card that... It's like somebody... trying to play somebody at a card store who's only playing like a really top tier deck, and you're like beginner level, and you're like, why am I playing this? Person?
Getting completely ruined. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you hopefully mean that. Hopefully, what that means is that people who make decks like that, they get filtered up the chain because they're getting constant win after win after win, and you'll stop being matched against them at a certain point.
Well, I mean, I've never had that happen, so.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what happens.
I guess the decks just get more janky and awful as you get up.
Or you'll just have to spend more and more money on opening packs until you get the same cards they do, and then you can start building the same deck.
I have plenty of the hard cards. I didn't want to use decks like that.
Fair.
A fun little combo deck that like fed into itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I played Puzzle Quest, I had a lineup that was a thing that would generate green. It would generate green on the board. And then if you matched all the green, that it would dump a bunch of mana into other cards. But that would also then start putting +1/+1 counters on on other like creatures I have out. Mm-hmm. And so as it was cycling through all the cards and playing them, it would constantly keep feeding more and more green onto the board, which meant that as it kept turning things green, there would be more and more matches. and then that would feed more mana, and then also like put +1/+1 counters on all my characters, to the point where I had an infinite loop going.
Sure.
And I let it run until it was about like at 498 out of 498 like power and toughness. And I was like, at what point now does it stop so that I can actually just attack the other side and just wipe them out immediately? It's like, no, this loop is infinite, and you have to wait for it to stop. It won't stop because it's infinite. Exactly. You're going to have to forfeit the match.
So that's a garbage thing to do.
To somebody who's winning, right? But at the same time, if what you're doing is making infinite loop decks, it's like, oh, I guess maybe I'm the one who's being I'm being the spike, right? It's like maybe I should be paying for it.
Yeah. No, at that point, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend in high school who was really into, most of us were into Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was into Magic and some other stuff. And he would talk about stories of playing. And all I learned from his stories was, I never want to play you because you sound like an asshole. And it was because he was always like, oh, I made this deck that lets me do whatever, where I get to claim someone for 1 hit point every turn, but I also play this other thing, so it always like skips their turn, so it comes back to me as my turn. So I'm like, oh, so you spend 20 turns skipping somebody else's turn so they can never play, and chipping at them for damage.
Right.
That's a fun thing to do in a solo player game of like an RPG or something.
Sure.
But as a human being, that's just an ass thing to do.
Yeah, because now why are we even playing this against each other? Like the moment your win condition pops off, it's like, oh, I concede. I guess I have to. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so now...
So robots are bad.
Yeah, matches
People
in
are
games
worse,
with bots.
but for different reasons.
Well, it's weird though. Like I like people, it's like, do you, in a game like Fortnite, do you want to play, like if I started playing Fortnite, would I prefer to be playing against really stupid bots so I can get used to the feel of the game and shoot them and feel like I'm winning and actually get better at the game as I'm playing over time? Or would I prefer to drop into a lobby where I'm being matched up against people who are way better than me and they're wiping me out and I don't actually have a chance to get better at the game? And that's kind of like with Splatoon, right? Where it's like Splatoon had a single player component where you could play that to get better at moving and shooting and doing all the things that you need to do and getting like really into developing those skills, and then being able to jump into matches with other people and then being like, oh, now I know how to control this and I feel better about it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I didn't like about PUBG is I'm like, when I tried to play PUBG because everyone else was, and I'm like, this is a neat thing, wander around and find treasures and then be a powerful killing machine. And I'm like, I love this. I want to do a lot of that, but I don't have the time or ability to do it because I don't get a chance to practice being better at this. All I get is I find some things and I get shot in the back and I'm like, oh, I suck at these games. Well, I'll try again. No, I get shot in the back again. And you start to feel like, what's the point of me coming back and playing more of this?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few first-person shooter games that I know have campaigns and things that you can play probably solo or with friends or whatever, but like multiplayer is generally where people want to go. A lot of things like PUBG, I think Fortnite maybe, I don't play a lot of these games myself, but my understanding is at least what I've seen of a lot of them, is it feels like they expect you to already know how to play a game of this kind to get into this game, because the onboarding process is always kind of terrible otherwise. And you want to get in on like the ground floor of a game like this, like when it first comes out, because otherwise you're falling behind.
True, but
it's what it feels like from conversations I've heard people have. Like, again, I don't play these kinds of games because I don't hate myself that much.
I also feel like a lot of skills in first-person shooters will like move between other things. Like are you good at playing Doom? Well, you could play Quake, right? It's like you were able to kind of carry those things over, and then you can play Unreal, and then you can play Daikatana, and then you can play Duke Nukem 3D, and then you can play PUBG and Fortnite and all these other kind of things. I'm like, right. But if you never really got good at those games, or you never learned to adopt the keyboard mouse thing, or you never learned to do things in different, or everyone's playing on like controllers these days. If you never really learned how to get into that.
I don't think that's quite true.
There's a lot of people
there are a lot of people who play by controller, but you make it sound like nobody plays by keyboard and mouse anymore.
Yeah, but it's true.
And that's not true at all.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a lot more people playing controller than ever used to play on in that way. And it just feels to me like that the skills you would have developed if you were constantly playing these things for a long, long time and you were part of that whole thing, like part of the whole craze of doing it. Because I just fell off playing them because I'm like, I don't really like playing these that much in the first place. They're not bad, but they're not that compelling. I'd rather play some different style of games. So then to find a game to come back and be like, oh, this is a compelling idea for a game. Like Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I don't play first-person shooters as a rule. But I will have this opportunity now to play one again, and I have a feeling that the difficulty curve will be good enough that I'll feel comfortable playing it, that I'll be able to get into it and actually develop skill at it. Because I got really good at Metroid Prime, but I never actually finished it. I got all the way to the last boss, but I couldn't actually finish I end up dying on the second evolution of the boss, and too many times, and I just would kind of give up on it because I'm like, I don't want to have to go through the hassle of doing this now. And so I'm like, I'm hoping that for Metroid Prime 4, get an opportunity to play that, and hopefully the curve will be designed so that people like me who are not playing these things can still enjoy the game to get started and eventually get into the point of like you're getting to be very skilled at it.
I've heard some interesting things about that game in the sense of the motion controls. Well, not motion controls, but
the mouse control.
The going from buttons to swapping to a mouse control when
Right.
you're doing a different action is actually sounds like it's really seamless.
That's cool. That's cool.
So it's probably going to be the game that shows that off the best for a lot of people.
Okay. Lord Zorano says Fortnite always gives you a couple of bot matches to win against whenever you start playing or after a break. Okay, that's interesting too. I mean, that makes sense, right? What I want is easy kills and an opportunity to feel like I'm not being set upon by the 12-year-olds of the world who've been playing this for 6 hours a day rather than doing their homework. Damn it, do your homework. But I remember what it's like to be 12. I promise.
I didn't do my homework.
I didn't have homework most of the time. I was doing it all in school.
Was it 12 is like, what, 5th grade?
12 for me would have been grade 6, I think.
6?
Yeah.
Okay, no. It'd be maybe another 2 years before I stopped doing homework because it was pointless.
There we go.
I still made it through school.
Huh. Oh, well, okay. Interesting things I'm learning now. The Switch 2 will let you plug in an actual mouse.
Yeah.
All right. That
That's not-
stands to reason.
Yeah. I don't. To me, that's not news, but I think that's fine. Yeah.
I don't know what this headline means. I guess what 200cc. They have a 200cc mode, and it's very fast, but it's actually faster than the jump in speed from 150 to 200 is actually faster than you would expect. It is a massive massive increase in speed. That's amazing. All right, cool. It pretends it's 415cc.
Okay.
They're just talking about the size of the engines is all that
Yeah.
really means, right? So
Did you
have anything
see-
else? No.
Yeah, no, that's very clear
You
from
can
what you're
tell.
doing.
Yeah.
You don't need to vamp like that. We could just
Right.
talk like human beings
I would
if
love
you really
to.
want to.
Let's just do that. Yeah.
There's an IGN article that came out. I think Rebecca Valentine did it,
Mm-hmm.
where the guy who designed the Pokemon logo 20 years ago showed up and had a little interview with,
Yeah.
with them. And they talked about going to the Nintendo office in Seattle.
Oh, yeah, Nintendo
Right, 'cause
America's
this
office?
This is a man from Seattle who designed the Pokemon logo.
Cool.
And like the modern day logo that you see, not the because when Pocket Monsters first came out, it wasn't called Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, it looked very different. Yeah.
And
In fact,
yeah,
let's bring
that's-
those up.
That's a pretty neat little thing to see because it's like I follow her on Blue Sky actually, so I saw her posting asking people if they remembered the lobby that people waited in the office because I guess the logo had some stuff that was based upon this weird sculpture or something that was just in the lobby.
So I do hate going to fandom wikis at this point, just from all the crap that I hear. I just want to bring up the early Pokemon logos, but is there
I mean, we can probably just search the article,
there we go.
but
Primary logo variants. All right. So just to give people a sense of what we're talking about here. There we go. The pre-launch logos. Capsule Monster. Pocket Monster. See, they don't really have... Like, they're showing... Here's the Pokemon logo. It's like, yeah, here we go. The original logo that was on the... they had that, and then they get into this, and at some point, though, the international logo is the one you see everywhere. Like, even in Japan, despite the fact that Pocket Monster or whatever is still on everything going into the modern era, I didn't realize this because I thought at some point they just said we're giving up and we're just going to lean into this logo alone as it's the international logo used everywhere. But yeah, all the Pokemon centers have this great big thing outside of them. It's not that here in Japan we're going to use a different logo this, right?
I think I have to remember, but I think he had a month to get that logo together. And that's kind of the work he would do is he'd come in last minute and do logo design for your stuff.
Okay.
They don't attribute the logo to him or anything because it's all white label,
right?
NDA'd.
Yeah, you came in to do
whatever
work for
thing,
hire.
and yeah. But it's still a neat story.
Yeah, and it's funny because in a way, knowing who did it and being able to talk to a person who did it and be like, so what was your what motivated when you were thinking about what you wanted to look like or what were the things they were asking for, and getting to hear that story, it's nice because it's even though it's well, I don't own the logo, it's I don't care, you still designed it, you made it, it was work for hire, but I still want to hear what you have to say about your process in making it.
He phoned them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got so it was something I want to say it's his grandson or somebody in the family encouraged him to go reach out and talk about it, and it's been so many years, so he figures it's probably fine. So I hope that it is.
He's told his grandson, and for years his grandson was telling all his friends, be like, no, my grandpa designed Pokemon, and really which one? The logo. He designed the Pokemon logo that. No, I want to know if he designed frickin' Hitmonchan or something. I don't want to know if who cares who designed the logo. It's no, it's important. It's you're right, it is important. It is on everything. I don't, though, now to think about it, did any of the bags and stuff that we got our stuff in from any of the Pokemon centers, did they even have the international logo on them at all? Or did they have the Pokemon Center logo?
I don't know.
I think they might have just had the Pokemon Center logos on them. Huh. Yeah, I didn't really notice. That's fine.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm now drinking raspberry lemonade ginger ale.
Yeah, it's a little too sweet for me.
I have a question about this actually for you.
All right.
Since we're just talking about stuff, right?
Okay.
So
you can slow down. It's okay.
I'm having a good time. I'm flying.
You sound like you're flying.
I had a turkey club sandwich, and it was delicious.
Oh, I had the blast with an egg.
Blast with an egg.
It was good.
I was tempted actually to do blast with an egg. I was sitting and reading all the menu stuff, and I could, ginger beer. Yeah, powerful ginger beer.
Very.
Have a sip of that.
Oh man, it just goes up your nose. I mean, I thought about getting the turkey sandwich because I hadn't had it from there yet.
The Turkey Club is very good. The only I didn't mind that it was this is just pressed turkey. I was I don't care that this is just what that is. Because my mother put it in my mind years ago that we would go to a restaurant and she would ask, she'd be like, I want the club. She'd ask the waiter, right? I want the club sandwich, but is it pressed turkey deli meat, or is it actual turkey or actual chicken or whatever? Sometimes they'd be actual chicken or turkey, and sometimes they'd be it's pressed meat. And then she would, whenever it was pressed meat, she'd be like, that's not what I want. I would rather have the real thing.
That's fine.
And that's fine.
There's a different texture to that.
Yeah. And I was in the mood where I was how hard do I care? And ultimately, didn't. I was like, I'd rather just have the sandwich and have the, even if it is like roasted turkey deli meat but also bacon and tomato and cheese and this and that. And I'm like, this all sounds amazing. And it was so good. So I got what I wanted. I didn't matter that it wasn't real turkey, but it was pressed turkey, and that's whatever. So I just saw this earlier, and it's a wired gamepad.
Yeah, PowerA does that.
Yeah. But then I saw their price.
It's because it's wired.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing is I'm like, I know it's a wired gamepad, and that's fine. They're showing it off. Also, the fact though that it's like we show the back of it, and the connector is like you can remove it. So I thought that was neat, actually. That I was like, that it's like it's wired, but it isn't permanently wired. That you can, it's just USB-C powered.
I think a lot of controllers are that way these days.
Are they? When they're
I
like,
think the wired ones don't have the wires completely attached to them anymore.
they just use USB-C cables?
I think so.
I think it's a very smart idea if that's what they're doing. This has Hall effect sensors in it. And when I saw the price for it, I was like, even if this is a wired controller, $40 US is a pretty good price on something that's going to have 2 Hall effect sticks in it, which makes me wonder, I guess the price of Hall effect sensors have dropped significantly.
I don't know.
Because I remember that being a thing of like, oh, you want to put Hall effects in your thing? That'll be $30 just for the 2 sensors to go into whatever the replacements are.
I think you can get them for like $15 now, but
for both sensors?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've looked up a listing. I had a thing in my mind where I was like, yeah, I'll totally get ones for the Joy-Cons when they start to fail again.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely do that thing. Yep, I'll absolutely do that. And I mean, they've been fine, so.
Yeah. That is interesting, right? It's like the Joy-Cons we had after the couple years we used them, it was like, no bueno, you need to get these replaced. But what we got for the replacements, I'm like, we haven't had a problem since. So either we've been lucky, or it's just like the ones they replaced them with, the updated ones, are actually quite good. I don't know.
I think they've just been fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're good.
People have said that the Switch 2 sticks might not be Hall effect, but they feel fantastic. So, the hope is there that it's like this will be really a good experience.
I expected if they were going to do Hall effect sticks in the new gamepad, that they would have been blasting that detail out everywhere, because that would have been important to people, but they didn't. So I'm like, yeah, it's clearly not.
It did at least, though, when I saw the price for this for like $40, I'm like, okay, so you can make a mass market controller with Hall effect sticks in it and nothing else, because this is not wireless. It doesn't have, apparently, as I'm looking down here, does not support HD rumble, IR camera, motion controls, or Amiibo NFC. It is a controller.
Again, that's why it's $40.
Yeah, it's $40. So much stuff that was left out of it compared to like their own Switch 2 Pro controller, which will probably like cost us $90 or something Canadian.
We're not buying a Switch 2 Pro controller.
No.
There's no reason for us to, unless you want to use that special C button.
No, I have no need to have any of that.
There's no reason to get one.
I'm going to use my regular Switch controller, I think.
Besides, I put in a pre-order for the GameCube controller.
Ah, okay. That'll be cool.
Which does have a C button on it, but we don't need that.
All right, they're putting finger buttons in the controllers now too, so you can like program them with
2 additional buttons on the back for programmability.
The G buttons.
But there's no reason
to have them
for us to buy a new controller for a new Switch.
Yeah. It's I think that it shows that Hall effect sensors have designed to go in joysticks or whatever have fallen enough in price that it is something you can put into a controller, into your little brother controller, into your Player 2 controller, like that kind of thing. That it's like it's cheap enough now that you can do that. That they'll probably start obviously showing up in a lot of other controllers as well. I feel like these will eventually be the standard, or whatever the next evolution past a Hall effect setup is. Will probably end up being the standard thing because they'll drop in price so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably already have, because I'm pretty sure $40 US for a wired controller has always roughly been on par for several years now.
Yeah. And assuming
at least during the our controllers are now $80 phase.
yeah. So assuming that that's a 50% markup over cost to get to 40, so it's a $20 bill of materials to make the rest of the controller. So yeah, parts have to be quite cheap now to be able to support that. That's what I was curious about. Is I'm like, surely that's what that means. Is it's so much cheaper? So yeah.
What you playing recently?
You
playing any video games?
The only thing that I had played recently.
Are you not a?
I'm not a real gamer.
You're not a gamer. You're not playing any games right now.
The only game I was playing recently was Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Yeah, you're still playing that though. Like you haven't.
I still am.
You haven't toppled it yet.
No, I'm at the point where there's a couple areas of the game that are not unlocked to me. There's a couple of like, oh, you can't get to this current on the map unless you talk to somebody about that, and I believe that'll mean having to push the story just another bump forward to have somebody else be like, oh, I found another way to get a secret current or go do this other thing. And there's a couple things in the game where they've just seemed like this is going to be really difficult, like side game stuff.
Oh, okay, like additional quests.
Like
and
mini,
stuff.
yeah, there's like a mini game thing where it's like, here, roll yourself up and down the ramps on this island. Go to this island, and there's a bunch of ramps, and you just have to like go collect all the music notes, and you only have a limited amount of time to do that in. So you're being timed, and you have to roll yourself along a thing, and like all this kind of stuff. And I did the first part of it, and it's like, cool. Now do it again, but longer and faster. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I hate this. I hate this so much. I don't want to do it.
Okay.
And then they're doing. They also have. Like the DX boss, right? It's like you fought this one boss, sure, but then later on you'll go talk to a guy and he'll be like, well, there's actually like they dip this guy in some sort of goo that makes him stronger, so go back and fight him again. And if you do, you'll win a cooler weapon. And I'm like, yes. And I did that once, and I was like, that wasn't too bad, but I want to set some time aside to go do the next one for that. And that means that all 4 bosses will probably have a thing that'll let you do that.
Right.
But
let's back up a step though.
Yeah.
What is Mario and Luigi Brothership?
Ultimately, it's a Mario and Luigi RPG, as we remember from like Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story. It's that kind of thing. You're two brothers. The two brothers, you're working. They walk along together, and you can control each one of their movements with either hammers or jumping. And it is that kind of like, along with Paper Mario, that like turn-based combat. I jump on something or I hit something, and the two brothers work together to attack, so they do brothers attacks, like that kind of thing. And it is just a turn-based RPG that, save blocks and items and stuff.
And what is the Brothership? Is it a ship between brothers? Are they friends of great magnitude? Why Brothership?
Why Brothership?
Do you know the answer? Is that spoilery?
It's just it's because it's the whole game is about everybody getting along and then like having relationships with each other.
Okay.
And then not having relationships with each other.
Oh no.
And they and there is an actual ship that you sail on.
Yes.
Because all of the land has been split asunder into multiple islands, and you have to go to each island and do little bits, and then you have to connect the islands back to the main ship, and then you sail along, tugging all the islands with you from place to place.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, in the game, do they call the boat the Brothership?
No, it's called something different.
They use the word Brothership in the game anywhere, or is it just in the title?
It's just in the title.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think because I'm not even sure that was like going to be the Japanese name for it. It might be something completely different. But yeah, it's a pun because it's a boat, and it's a lot of fun because it's not like Wind Waker where you just kind of point a direction, do whatever. It is there are currents in the oceans, and you select the current from the map that you want to go to, and then the ship will auto sail to that current. And then when it's caught in a current, it basically sails around on the current the entire time until you tell it to go somewhere else.
I see.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that you've talked about all the things you don't like about the game, are you enjoying this game?
It's so fun.
Yeah?
It's so fun. It's kind of perfect for me because it's just about making like go to this place and do some quests and get some stuff and solve a problem, and now you've unlocked the ability to go back there anytime that you want. And I'm like, this feels really good and solid to me. So I've really enjoyed playing that, and the slow progression of, you can see all the enemies that you're going to fight, and then it's like, go fight those enemies, earn coins and do whatever. There are parts of the game that I should be, if I got better at, then the game would probably be even better. But I've mostly just been like coasting, because there are buffs you can get that let you auto attack at an excellent level, so you can maximize damage, and that means that you can use the buff in conjunction with another buff to make your bros attacks more powerful. So you can auto attack and auto excellent bros attack and make it more powerful, and that means that you can do like over 1,000 damage to enemies.
Yeah, the theming of this game seems to be really heavy around the sense of like electricity and plugs and stuff. And if I remember right, what you're talking about is essentially like a power bar with different plugs. Power-ups in there. Like Nintendo's always been pretty good about a cohesive theme. And
then as the game goes on, you get a new segment to add to your power bar, so you can add more plugs to it.
That sounds really unsafe.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a piece that goes. I mean, it's just making an extension cable or a power strip longer.
A power strip, but you kept adding things.
Yeah,
to it.
there's a piece in the end that you could add.
Somehow
that
doesn't seem safe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's fine.
Maybe it's fine. I don't know. I've never seen somebody make a modular power bar where you can just keep sliding in new pieces to like make it.
It just seems like something I would have seen somebody do if it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're not supposed to plug a power bar into another power bar, right? Like.
Whoops.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that.
Did they put that on a label somewhere? Like, please don't plug this into another power bar?
On the power bar. If you look on the back of the power bar, it always says, please do not plug this into another power bar.
Well, that'll do it.
IKEA has a modular one. Okay, that's cool.
I guess that makes sense for them. Yeah. Is there like a game coming out that you're excited for?
Yakuza Kiwami.
Oh, the one that we'll get one day?
One day? Why don't you tell them what's gone on with that?
Okay, so I pre-ordered for Beach from Limited Run, and I mean, I know we all have our Limited Run stories about how they take a long time to do anything, because we just all do. But, you want a physical thing. Sometimes that's who you got to talk to. I think originally there was a thing that was like, it'll come out in the end of March, April, somewhere around there. And I was like, I'm going to have to deal with that, because hopefully it shows up before we go to Japan. Because I don't know how they'll be mailing it.
Yeah, we'll be gone
and
for
then,
like a month.
I got an email from them that was, not from Limited Run, but whoever they're doing their fulfillment through, I think.
Right.
That was, hey, this thing has been moved to sometime in May. And I was like, that's perfect for me, because we'll be back in May, and I won't have to worry about that. Great. I got an email last week, I think, or sometime fairly recent, that it is now being moved to
August?
I think it's August now.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's due to tariffs.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm assuming that's due to that whole shenanigans of a thing, even though they haven't said so, because it is the common thing I see amongst a lot of people who are doing any shipping online of anything.
Of course, if my order
at some point,
if my order is being mailed directly from China to me, and not like, if it's all being mailed to the US, that's one thing. But it's like, if it's being mailed from China to me, go ahead and send it. I don't mind. I don't think there'll be a problem with tariffs.
I'm pretty sure that their stuff comes in from the States. It's been a long time since I've actually ordered anything from Limited Run.
Yeah.
Mostly because the things that I'd want to get are generally sell out too fast.
Right. It's funny, us going to, I thought it was funny because when you found the Fangamer store in Japan, like when we just were there and you're like, that's his Fangamer. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and we went inside and saw it. I'm like, huh. I mean, I wasn't intending at any time soon now to go down to Tucson to go see Fangamer to go visit them, right? To say hello and be like, "Hey, thanks for the supporting Desert Bus and everything." But then to be like, "Oh, but we made it. We made it to a Fangamer. We finally did. We showed up at the store."
It was really neat, actually, because it's a small store and they only have like a little selection of stuff. Because I think they still probably do more of their sales online or whatever, but they had a wall filled with the white boards of creator signatures and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really neat.
And they had a section where you could buy limited edition taiyaki.
Oh yeah, I was confused. I wasn't sure if that was part of them or if that was just like another store on the end.
I couldn't really tell, except that I think they did have like themed taiyaki for Fangamer. That was like, it was a rotation thing and you got one at random because they would cook like a whole allotment and then they would take one out and you'd get it and it would have a different character on it, maybe not the one you wanted.
It was very slow there, so it was hard to see if there was anyone around.
Yeah.
But
and you're playing mini games.
yeah, well, I'm still in the middle of Blueprints because that game is really hard for different reasons that breaks your brain. But it's been a lot of fun. I guess you're a 14-year-old kid who's being gifted this manor if you can figure your shit out. By which I mean you have to find room 46. But I've also heard that once you find room 46, then the game really begins.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know where the room is.
That's good.
I found the door.
I think it's
I'd be damned if I can get a route to get up there with all the things I need, but
I feel like Blueprints, when you were explaining it to me, I wasn't really quite grokking what it was until you had said, well, it's actually like you have a 9x5 grid. So there's 45 different tiles that you can put rooms into, and then you'll be able to get to the 46th room is because what you were telling me early on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Oh, so it's like a room drafting game where when you walk to like the edge of a door, it says, well, now what do you want to get? Like, what do you want to put in here? Kind of like how Betrayal at House on the Hill is, the room drafting. And there's other games I played that are like that too. And I like that kind of, I'm going to build a map out of stuff I draw off a pile, and then I create a thing. And then you said, yeah, but at the end of the day, like when you're done doing all your steps and you have no more steps to give, at the end of the day, the whole thing resets and you have to do it again. And I was like, okay. And it's like, and there's puzzles and there's secrets and there's all this story you're putting in, like, okay. And so I read up on it. And
yeah, you said you found this really interesting article about the book Maze.
Yeah, there's a book called Maze, Solve the World's Most Impossible whatever. So it's by Christopher Nelson. Anyway, that was an inspiration for the person who designed Blueprints, Tomba Ross. I think I got their name correct. They were inspired by that book and by a lot of like other things as well. The idea of like, can you design like a maze? Like the book is basically just as you open pages, as you go to, it's like, let's choose your own adventure practically. Go to this one, and the whole idea is to find your way to the center of the maze and then find your way back out. And if you were one of the first people to do it, then you'd win $10,000. You just send them your solution, right? And I'm just like kind of blown away by the idea that then they liked that and they liked a lot of other things so much that they said, you know what, I'm just going to quit my job. I'm just going to start learning game design or learning how to.
They'd made a bunch of money from a Magic the Gathering website they had.
Yeah, and they were living on that and their personal savings, and they're like, and now I'm just going to design this game over the course of 6 years or 8 years, or however long it's been for them to do this. And I was just like, holy crap! And then they put this thing out. I didn't hear anything about this. I just started hearing it like whispers around people being like, I was playing Blueprints. And they're like, oh, I'm playing Blueprints now. Like that kind of thing. I'm like, I didn't see anything published on a website talking about anything about like Blueprints is the thing or like any of the social media that I've been seeing. Like nobody's mentioning anything.
It's been weirdly, for most of what I've seen, word of mouth, where like there was a podcast I was listening to where someone had a review copy that they were working on, but they couldn't really talk about it, which was funny to me because then when it came out and they could talk about it, nobody wants to talk about anything spoilery,
right?
So, and they don't want to ruin that first impression for people, so it's a lot of like, you should just play it. Let me tell you maybe some mechanics of like the basics of how it works or the base story or whatever. It's been pretty funny. I had like a really good run on my last run. I had like I got the boiler room out, and I got a bunch of rooms connected to the boiler room that all got powered because I finally had that happen, and so I got to see what a bunch of rooms could actually do, and then I got the vaults and treasure map. And I had 180 coins and nothing to spend them on, which was a little annoying, but at the same time, really close. The other annoying thing was I couldn't get. I got one of the doors open to get into the antechamber at the end. I couldn't get a path up there though.
Okay.
But I had like a lot of really good stuff going on. Like it's kind of funny because it's roguelike-y in that sense of like you have runs and you have things that are going to start over, and a little bit more modern day because you have those permanent things that you can unlock.
Sure.
And the idea is like, well, at least if you do a run and it goes poorly, hopefully you've learned something new. And I'm like, yeah, but there's just some stuff where I feel like I'm having some garbage runs because while I could probably learn something new, I don't have the context to maybe understand some of the other stuff that is just laying out there that I'm sure I'm going to be mad about.
Right.
When I realize the context and that there's probably just been this thing sitting here staring me in the face for like the 30 hours I've been in.
The more you talked about it to me, the more I was like, oh, actually, I do want to play this. And I hope to hell that at some point it gets ported to the Switch 2. Because then I will be into it definitely then.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that could hit Switch 2.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It doesn't sound like it is terribly
I don't think
keyboard
it would.
and mouse locked. Like you don't need to have a keyboard and mouse to specifically play it.
I've been playing on PS5, so I've been using controller. So yeah, I've been playing that, and then my problem with that game is if I sink too much time into it and I start to get tired or grumpy, I start to get angry at things. And so I need to like play for a while and then step away for a while, which is why I'm going to play the very sad game Expedition 33.
Right. You're playing, Clair Obscur right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On stream and off stream.
Right.
Because I can't.
But you're not playing the same save file on stream and off stream.
God,
no. You're
no,
playing your own
version
offline for yourself.
I'm playing at home because I needed to see more story, and I needed to throw my head against a wall of definitely being able to parry that extra boss that I didn't need to go fight, which we haven't encountered yet in Rhythm Cafe. So I'll know better. We'll see if Ian can fight that urge.
Fair. I like it's funny that what I'm hearing.
I've only finished Act 1, and it's incredibly sad.
Like I need to finish Brothership, but what I want to do is 100% it. Like I want to do all the like fighting all the bad guys, but at their DX version or whatever. And that might mean having to teach myself how to be better at doing bros attacks without having to do auto excellence. If I can actually learn the timing to do them myself, so I can attack on my own. But I died on Bowser twice. So spoiler, Bowser's in the game.
Hey, you have to fight him in a Mario game.
Yeah, how about that? And so, the idea of like I have a game that's been fairly long, and I'm getting towards the end of it. And I was kind of looking forward to getting Yakuza, so I could be like, that'll be my next 400-hour game. Like that'll be the one that I plug into.
That
be
you
like,
spend a lot of time in, and
and I'm gonna play a lot of things and do all the little side quests and stuff, because the fun of it is being able to explore all the little things you'll be able to do in a game like that. And so then when I found out just today that Yakuza 0 is coming to Switch 2, I was like, oh great, that'll be the next one I get. But also, if Blueprints was to come out for the Switch 2 and I could sit down and play that, then I would definitely be locked into a problematic kind of situation of like, okay, now I'm just coming home and playing video games. I have so many 200-hour games to play that it's like that's all I'll do for a while.
I have that problem because I have another game that I've heard good things about that I want to play that I just got in. It's a tactics game. It's called 100 Line Defense Academy, I think is the name. It is a game that is made by their dev studio name is like 2Q. But it's a guy from the Danganronpa series and a guy from the Virtue's Last Rewards series. Yes, I do.
More than anything.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Caillou.
Yes, it is.
You should get that closer to the mic.
Is this like the new Rickroll? Like, you just come into the room and
Have
you
you
Caillou
not
us?
talked to James lately?
Yeah,
I haven't talked to James recently. No. No.
I learned it.
Good for you. You're very skilled at it
Thank
too.
you,
I'm
yeah.
very
I've been
impressed.
practicing for a couple days.
Oh, damn, you guys watching Caillou?
Oh shit!
Nice.
Oh my god. Right. So, right.
Okay, so yeah, there's a game called 100 Line Defense Academy, something like that. I think there's a couple extra words in there I'm missing. But yeah, it's
It's by the Danganronpa people, isn't it?
No, well, it's by a guy from the Danganronpa studio and a guy from who did the Virtue's Last Reward 999 games. They formed their own dev studio,
Right.
and it's a tactics game, and it's got like a bazillion things on it, and I don't know. I'm excited for it, but I also am a sicko apparently. So,
But you're excited for the 100 line because you want to play that, or are you
Yes.
excited for? Are you excited for this, which is
oh, they just announced this.
yeah, Shuten Order.
Which
yeah.
I haven't looked that much into, but I'm hoping is also good. I'm excited for 100 Line
Right. Okay.
because I have that. I bought a copy of it. It's sitting there mocking me.
I see.
While I busily burn out my brains on blueprints and then cry over Expedition 33.
Right. And then you get to play this new murder escape room game, I guess.
It's not a murder escape room.
I don't know. Yeah, 100 line I don't know too much about
It
overall.
acts like it is, apparently. I think there's an area in it that probably is in the same vein as Danganronpa, but it's more, my understanding is it's more about you're doing a tactics game
Right.
for 100 days to stop something from invading the school. Yeah, the artwork is very Danganronpa.
Yeah. No, I definitely see it.
I
see.
know Fuji is playing it, and I asked him about it, and he said if you think you're interested in it, you'll probably like it, because he doesn't want to spoil stuff. Which honestly, fair.
She looks like Ruriko from Meet Me at the Ballpark or Catch Me at the Ballpark. I can't. I'm just scrolling through this because I want to see a picture of what the tactics gameplay looks like, and all I'm seeing is just,
All the other stuff.
all the cutscenes and all the places where, oh yeah, definitely, great. Here's what it looks like after the battle. It's like, what does the actual game play scene look like? Show me what it looks like when you do a battle. It's like, no, we're not interested in that. So
Yeah, I've been
right.
listening to. I know one podcaster said because there's supposed to be different storylines and endings and things that as you do, you get more of the world fleshed out and what's going on. But they said that if you already did a fight, the game's like, oh, you'd have to redo a fight here in order to go through this line. You can just skip it because you already passed it once.
oh, okay. So you don't have to. You don't do it for more experience or anything. You could just skip it if you want to.
Yeah, and I just think that's kind of a neat idea. So I've got that game hanging out there. I mean, among the other pile of games that's been taunting me for a while. I might want to play something maybe low key after I get through the other two, though.
Fair.
Maybe something short and not sad. Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
but maybe I'll just play the new Donkey Kong game so I can smash things. That seems pretty.
That's more cathartic.
Yeah.
When you can destroy the entire world in a game. Just
I'm assuming I can.
picking stuff up and throwing it around and stuff. Does it, at some point, like it has to get exhausting, right? Like it has to be just a thing of, like, no, I don't even want to do that anymore. You just kind of stop doing it.
I guess it depends on how it makes you feel mechanically.
Mm,
What kind of dopamine hit you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, if it's to the purpose of, because if it was one of these like, oh, dig for fun stuff too, like there'll be stuff hidden and whatever, it'd be like, oh no, I'm going to be digging up all sorts of things. Because I'm the kind of, so I've played games where, played Metroidvanias where right off the top, the first thing I do, because I've been taught, is every time I walk up to a wall, even the first wall in the game, the first thing I do is I attack the wall just to see if something happens. Does it crack? Does it make a noise? Does it break? You know, what's going to happen? And then I do that for a little bit, for a little while, and I'll notice that through the first level or whatever I'm in,
Yeah.
nothing breaks or nothing cracks. I'm like, oh, okay, well then they're not putting destructible walls into this game. That's fine. And then later on in the game, I will hit something by accident, and it will crack open a wall, and I'll be able to go someplace, and then I'll get extremely angry because I realize that I've missed most of the game so far not breaking open walls and shit, which
Yeah.
means I always have to break shit. So Bonanza sounds like it's going to be one of those things where it's like, I can break anything that I want, but maybe it won't actually lead to anything good.
I'm sure in the beginning of the game, you probably can't just break everything.
Ah, fair.
You probably have to learn how to break things. Maybe there's power-ups or something.
Right. That would be interesting too. If it's
you
like,
know.
oh, you have to have more bananas or get more
Something.
chips or whatever it is you have to do, and then like
chips.
you can pick stuff up more. Who knows?
But yeah, you know, like that's coming out. They said that the Hyrule Warriors game is, I think, winter. Was it Fantasy Life I just dropped, and I wasn't super interested in that before, but now I've looked at it and I've heard better things, and I saw that there was like skill trees. I should stream that one, because then I can add that into another game into my playtime. That's what I should do.
Good. All right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's too many games I actually want to play right now, which feels weird.
Do you want to play Fantasy Life I?
That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Right.
The
Sorry.
skill tree.
The skill trees. Right. Okay.
There's 14
I feel like-
lives you can be this time. One is an artist. I looked them up. I feel like there was only 12 in the last game, but I can't remember.
I had heard you say everything, but I did not process the name of the game for some reason. I don't know why. Because like I thought you were still talking about other games you were already playing, not just you have this one waiting. So
No,
anyway.
it's just there's too many games.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a terrible world we live in these days.
Camp Duck Detective is out.
Yep.
At least that one's short.
I think they said it's only going to be about 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's the perfect amount of time for a thing I'm going to do later.
Nice. I don't know. We have. At least I don't need to play all the games. That's been the nice thing about regimenting off how I do my video gaming is like, oh yeah, I only want to do this at this time. I only want to, I'm only going to play stuff on Nintendo systems, because it was like, oh, well, you should play games on every system. I'd be like, well, then we're going to go back to like me playing Fallout on stream here,
Yeah.
which I very much enjoy doing. That is definitely this is something that I always wanted to be able to get around to doing.
You didn't finish that, did you?
I haven't even finished it yet.
yeah, so you gotta get back to that at
I
some
do.
point.
It's true. But that idea of like, hey, like that's maybe like in the last several years, especially since playing Betrayal at Krondor, where it was like I knew Fallout was supposed to be fun and interesting, and then you start seeing New Vegas and like Fallout 4 and like all the other things. I'm like, oh, I like this weird world they created, and I actually do want to spend some time there, but I would rather go start with Fallout and like play that, and maybe even Fallout 2. Why? Because they'll be the lowest quality of life versions of this kind of game, so that then when if I'm playing newer versions of these games, that'll be like, ah yes, and then they did this thing which makes it a lot nicer to play, as opposed to look at how nice this game plays, and then you go back and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah, there's certain games that you can get away with it if they do like if they remaster a game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they'll put in more modern quality of life adjustments.
Yep.
But if you're going back to originals,
Yeah. Just being able to manage my party's inventory in one place would be a great big help. And I wish they would give you the ability to be like, here's everything you guys are carrying. And what would you do if you were out fighting with a bunch of people that, have your back and you trust them and everything? It's like, well, we probably would like be like, hey, I have too much of this. It's like, let's throw those things in a pile and figure out who can carry this stuff, you know? But
I've been going through old VODs because I've been trying to get my home stream VODs up. And so I got Hollow Knight going up now. And I was just like, I really should just play Hollow Knight again. Yeah. It's Hollow Knight is one of those games where the moment I see somebody else playing it, I'm like, I should play that again. Or just keep playing more of it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like a few little like fights and stuff I haven't done, which I'm sure after not having played for a few years, my reaction times will be immensely bad.
Yeah. Hollow Knight definitely feels like to me, like having played it and having done 2 of the 3 endings, that I was just like, I am satisfied wholly with this game, but oh my goodness, would I like to play more of this engine and this gameplay in some other. That's why Silksong is so exciting, obviously, is because it's the idea of like, this game was so good and satisfying in a way that other Metroidvania games have more recently have not been as satisfying, right? That you're like, I want to play more in the I want you to take exactly what you've done here and then rip out all the maps and all the upgrades and stuff, and I want you to just stuff it full of new maps and upgrades and other things to do. That's all I want to do. Is I don't want the physics to change, and I don't want the like a bunch of other stuff to change. It's like, I just want to use this to explore a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're really good with the world creation and stuff in that game, and it just felt really fun and interesting. And
Metroid Dread was junk food to me, because I was like, this is so great and so wonderful, and I'm having such a great time playing this. And I was done it, I think, in under 2 weeks, like just kind of playing it here and there. Like, I devoured it, and then it was done. And it's one of those things, and I'm like, when did I even play that? Like, what year was that?
Sat there with an empty feeling.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't know what to do now because everything else will be garbage, but nothing will be.
And I really enjoyed it, but I'm like, it didn't imprint itself on my brain as much as Hollow Knight ended up imprinting itself on my brain. And I'm like, that's
I mean, Hollow Knight was that game that we were both kind of playing it roughly around the same time, so it was one of those games for us where it was like, did you find Thing yet? No. Where did you go then? Well, I went to wherever. You can go there? You know, we had that going on, so I feel like that helps cement in a game as when you can talk about it with other people. That's partially why I think Blueprints is really also hitting a lot of people in this weird scattered way, because like, every time I see Joe now, it's like, so and
I have to sit at the table just like stirring my drink and being like, what, they're going to talk about Blueprints for 15 minutes.
Anybody who's sitting around us who doesn't know what we're talking about must think we're just nuts.
Yeah. Says, well, I found the key. Well, did you find the other key? Well, yeah, I did, but then I put it in the book. Well, why did you put it in the book? Well, because if you put it in the book, then this thing.
Did you find this room?
To do this?
Did you get this room?
Yeah, but did you walk around to the other side of that room? What do you mean the other
yet?
side of that room? Well, if you go to the other side of the room, then you get to go to here. And it's like, what? And I'm It's really cool, but also because I want to play it, I'm trying not to pay attention, because not that I don't mind being. It's hard to get spoiled.
I'm not
in
sure
a game where you don't really know what's going on.
Anything we're specifically saying will make any sense to you by the time you get to play it.
Yeah, I did open a spoiler for Blueprints on Mastodon that somebody had posted. I think it's actually Foon who posted it. Most of you probably know who Foon Turing is at this point. If you hang out on like social media, you've probably seen them post on Tumblr, like really funny shit on Tumblr or on Mastodon, or I think they even have a Blue Sky. But they had posted a mild Blueprint spoiler. I clicked on it just because I click on all my content warnings because I don't care what they say. And then I realized when I read the thing, I was like, shit. If that is a spoiler, because that is actually what's happening in that game, that's something that me knowing is maybe not a great thing to know, but I also don't know what impact at all it would have on the game, the thing that they said. And I was like, okay, so who knows if this even matters to me, right? So.
Yeah, like I found certain things that when I talk to, that I haven't figured out how to interact with yet, but like when you see them, you're like, there's something weird about that. I don't have context yet, but I'm gonna remember that. And so yeah, when I talk to Joe, there's like whatever, but there's also like, I'll see comments on different social media where someone will be like, oh, the blank blank, and I'm like, I haven't found that yet. I don't know what it means, but you called it and then gave like the descriptors, and then like, so it's really important. I'm going to notice it when I see it now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. It's weird because it's like it is fun. It's a little frustrating in certain parts because RNG can be. There have been puzzles that I feel like that I recognize the puzzle, I know the rules, and then somehow I still can't seem to get the right math answer on this equation. And I hope in like a couple of years after I've figured everything out, by which I mean I've played until I'm not playing anymore.
Right.
That someone will have written up a really good article or do a really good video essay explaining everything, and then I'll watch that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So it'll be like I get to play, I get to have my experience, I get whatever fill that I get, kind of thing. And then in a couple of years, I will watch a video essay and be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. It's kind of how I feel like that game's gonna end for me. Oh, a developer's commentary would be great.
Oh, Jesus,
Yeah.
could you imagine? I mean, having it on while you play the game and having it talk about, I did this for this reason. I'm like, there's got to be, there's years of, because it's solo development, and just years and years of, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about that. And I'm like, it would almost probably be as long as playing the game again. It would have to be. But I hope that I hope that they're a good person ultimately, because it would be nice to have good people making good video games. And I also then hope that they have a lot of success from this. They make a comfortable amount of money so they can live off of it, and they can find other things that are going to satisfy them in terms of their work going forward. Because I just really like the idea that something. I know people have said, I think I saw Sarah Serende even say that you were just waiting, like itching to get this game, right? Like just waiting and waiting for it to come out, and then all of a sudden everybody was talking about it. And but my perspective is like, I'd never heard of this game whatsoever, and then was running into people talking about it, but I wasn't seeing anything on even on the Discords that I hang out, nobody was saying anything. On the social media that I read, it never came up at all. And I'm like, there's whole audiences of people who are unaware of blueprints. Like massive audiences of people, I have to assume as well, who are unaware of it. And I'm like, I want this thing to succeed, because it even having not played it yet, I want it to succeed, and I want it to go on. I want it to get ported to places, and I want, I want people to enjoy a thing like this and see a small developer actually achieve a lot of, like the same thing with Balatro, right? I want the same thing for Balatro. I want is it Local Thunk is their name? I want them to have a lot of success and be very comfortable with the money that they've made off of the sales of it, and be like, yes, I can continue to now make more things. And Concerned Ape, I feel the same thing about, like all these people who are like running small groups and developing stuff like this. Is like the more success that comes out, it just makes me feel really good to know that there's still room for massive gaming hits not coming from the places that you normally suspect.
That's the thing too, because like especially right now when we're looking at a lot of games being at the $80 price point or more, depending on special editions and DLC and whatever. And I mean, it's always been like a thing of you have to make your choices of what games you have that you can afford to play, that you want to play, and that you have the time to play. But I think Blueprints was, I think it was $30 Canadian.
Very affordable. Holy crap.
So, and I wasn't expecting it to be as time consuming.
I mean, engrossing, I think, is also a great way to look at it.
Well, there's that too.
Right? Yeah.
It's also kind of, it's nice for me because it's like the two popular games right now, that one and Expedition 33, are games that I'm enjoying, I'm playing, and other people I know are playing.
Right.
And that's, for me, that's not very much a thing that occurs. It's always like, oh, well, I'm playing. If I was playing Fantasy Life, nobody else around here at the office will be playing Fantasy Life. I know that for a fact. If I play Pokemon, they might be playing Pokemon for a week, but then most people move on to something else.
I have this problem I know it's a problem because it is.
You have a problem.
I have of the many problems I have. One of my
Well, tell me,
problems.
caller, what is your problem?
If I'm playing something that somebody else is playing, I'm worried. Sometimes I feel like if they end up liking a thing more than I like it,
Then
I don't know. It's like
what will happen?
I don't know. It feels weird sometimes. This is like hey, if I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom,
Yes.
and you're playing Tears of the Kingdom,
Yes.
that's okay.
That's okay.
It makes sense to
The
me
two of
that
us can play Tears of the
we're both playing Tears of the Kingdom and we're both
Yes.
having a good time with it, right?
Yes,
I'm like,
okay.
that's great. But then as I meet more people in my surrounding who are also playing, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Wait, you're gonna be playing this game a lot, and then you're going to be wanting to talk about it all the time, or you're going to other people will be doing this too. They start to feel like it's the thing that if everybody else is doing it, that I'm going to be just a tiny voice in the crowd talking about this one thing.
Oh.
That it's like everybody's talking about Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm not the one providing any sort of like, oh, but there's this, and people are like, oh, I'm listening interestedly
So you
because
wanna
oh, we
be-
know about that.
You want to be the big fish in a small pond.
Not really. It's more about like if the having, I guess maybe it is because like having unique knowledge about a thing is really a nice thing to have.
You want to be the person who has the topic to talk about, because then you know you're not treading old ground.
Kind of, yeah, because it's like at the same time you want to be, I think anybody wants to be surrounded by people who have the same, like we all watch the same TV show and then we all talk about what that TV show was like, right? So if you
Yeah.
all play the same video game, you all talk about what the video game was like and how it affected you. It's like, that's nice. I haven't been used to being exposed to that because the gaming landscape shifted so much, like heavily back to PC, like heavily back to like computers and to the games that are there, and then like PlayStation and Xbox kind of filling up a lot of that space. And just like where the concentration of interest tended to be was just like, and we're going to talk about Call of Duty, and we're going to talk about Madden, and like that, those kind of things take over the media. And it's like, I'll just shuffle off to my little Nintendo niche site to look at what the new Mario game is like. Because none of you want to talk about Mario. You just want to all talk about what the new Shooty Mans is like. Like, what's
Okay.
Overwatch like this week? And what's Apex Legends doing? And fucking Fortnite and Minecraft and like all those really, really big things. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear about the Mario thing that I'm playing. Or nobody wants to hear about the other whatever I'm playing. Because they only just want to talk about Call of Duty. And then when the Switch came out and it was like, congratulations, everybody wants to be part of your family now. I'm like, that's awesome. But then I'm
You're
feeling
like, too many people now.
too many people are like, we're all part of the thing and we were here forever. I'm like, you don't fucking deserve to be here. And where did that come from? Where did that come from? That thought that came into my brain, right? That's the kind of thing that frustrates me.
Okay.
It's not that I have a problem with everybody else liking it. It's that I
thought-
have a problem with the fact that I have a problem with everybody liking
Right. Okay.
it.
I thought this was going to turn into one of those like, you ever been so exposed to people talking about a game to the point where you're like, you never want to touch it?
It's only happened a couple of times with like movies and stuff, and I
Yeah,
can think
but
a
that
couple
kind
games
that
too,
kind
yeah.
of sense where it's like people keep talking about a thing, and like, oh, you should play, oh, you should watch it, you have to watch this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're just like, the more you keep bringing it up, the more I actually think I'm putting that off by another 6 months now.
Yeah, hype poisoning. That's
Yeah.
an interesting term. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that you kind of get used to like living in an alternate track, especially if you're not. A lot of this comes from schools and peer groups and stuff, and when you're not part of the peer group, you can feel that you're on the outside of your peer group. That it's like you start to feel like, well, fuck, I don't like your stuff anyway. The thing that you like, I don't want to like anyway. I want to go my own way and do my own thing. Even if that's driven from, I just want to do my own thing and not have people bug me about it. And then you start to get made fun of because you like a thing, or nobody's paying attention to it, or nobody cares that you're into this thing and they don't want to hear about it or whatever. Then you start to feel ostracized, even if you're not being ostracized. Or if you already were ostracized, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm not a part of the peer group. Well, then fine, I'm going to have my own peer group that's just me. And then when everyone starts to come back to the thing that you're interested in, they want to know more about it, but not from you, but from like whomever else, then it's kind of like, I was here all along. right? I've been here the whole time, and you didn't think anything of this until you decided that it was a thing that you wanted to like all of a sudden. And I think that a lot of that coming out of like school and maybe just for like, I don't know if that's always been the thing for people. I don't know what it was like for like teenagers in the 50s and 60s, but maybe it was that kind of transition to like teenagerdom being a thing, and then the interest being kind of locked into that world. It's like, how much of that was that way over the last several decades, through interests and stuff that people had? I don't know. But you did say go ahead caller, and I'm like, well, that's, I guess, where I'm at now, is the whole like, let's share those thoughts. So.
Just making small talk, making joke, having fun, being chill on this point.
Yeah.
I personally really like it when people get really into the stuff that I'm in, because most of the time they're not. If you recall, for A Link Between Worlds, because we only had the one copy of the game, and I played it first, I was very excited. Nobody else that we knew was playing that game at the same time, and I basically just shoved the game in your hands. Was like, cool, you need to play this now, so that I have someone to talk to about it.
And I'm like, good, because I've been waiting to play it, and so I'd like to play it right now. And then I did, and I was like, this is fantastic. And that was a weird game too, because I was coming at it with having played Link to the Past multiple times and playing and finishing that game multiple times. And you had never played Link to the Past.
I played Link to the Past after.
Yes.
Which was interesting.
Yes, because to me it's like everything is very familiar in terms of layout, but wrong somehow. And you just kind of played it. And then you had to go play Link to the Past, which would be a very different feel. It's like, yeah, what a weird... But which was fun in itself. It meant that we could talk about the game in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not because it's like... If you had a kid and you gave them like the new Pokemon game, like this year's Pokemon game, and then you tried to talk to them about what Gen 1 was like, they would have no frame of reference. And everybody who plays Pokemon who's been playing since Gen 1, and I don't mean like people who have played all the games, I mean people who have been playing since those were
like
the early games.
Released,
You were always waiting for the new one to come out, so you were playing the one beforehand. It's like you're seeing something get built over time. And anybody who's coming to the new thing today and playing that, they're coming in getting a completely different experience of like, this is what Pokemon is just this one game, not knowing that it's like, well, it's actually all these like 30 games that we've been playing for decades now. And you have a very different vision of how that works. Yeah.
Don't worry. They'll grow up and they'll learn.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever it is they learn. I find young children that I've interacted with who want to talk about video games just want to talk about video games. There's no discussion aspect there. They have a thing they're really into. They want to share.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not a discussion.
No.
And
they
it
just
is kind
info
of fun.
dump.
It is kind of fun to watch a child info dump.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, especially because if they say something that is technically incorrect in like the larger scheme of things, and you try to say anything, they are the expert of the one thing.
How would you possibly know?
And they are very confident in the words they have to say, and it's pretty fun.
I think that's though I think that is fun that if you have families, because it surprised me. I worked when I was working at a college, and there was a guy who I worked with who was, I think he was like...
I worked at a college with the guy that I worked with.
Okay, so there's this dude that I worked with at this college, and I think he was like in his late 30s, and he had a kid who was gaming age, and they used to play together. Like he'd watch his dad play like Battlefield or whatever, and then at some point they started playing that together, in online whatever, going online to play this game and doing all that, and which I thought was very odd because the kid was like 6 years old or 7 years old or whatever, and it's like, you're playing Battlefield? Like, it's like, oh, he really likes it. He has a lot of fun playing. I'm like, okay, that's fair. And it kind of made me feel like, right, the level of interest of a hobby in previous years, like previous decades, would be like, your dad likes to hot rod cars, for example.
Okay.
And so it's always car analogies, right? Your dad likes to hot rod cars, and so you grow up seeing your dad in the garage hot rodding cars, and then you decide to go out and start learning how to hot rod cars with him, and then you get a car and you rod it with your dad, and you're like, okay, cool, we're doing this thing. It's like that's a convergent hobby where it's like two different age groups can kind of come to that and learn from each other and do those kind of things. And I'm like, right. Movie and TV watching is almost a little too passive for that to be a case. But then before that, it could have also been like reading books, right? That your dad would read a book and maybe he would give you that book to read. That might have been a thing. Or maybe it wasn't, right? Maybe you weren't trading novels back and forth with your parents. Maybe that wasn't a thing that was happening. But I liked this, like, as we've gotten to a certain point, that video gaming is definitely the kind of thing that you're seeing, like, dads play with their kids, and it's going to turn into grandparents playing with their parents playing with their kids.
Maybe. So I had an experience that I felt was weird, which was like, so I have some younger cousins.
Yeah.
By which I mean like 8 to 10 year
age difference.
And when I was, and you know, you do the family meetups. We don't do this so much anymore. So this is like a fairly old story. But when they were like 5 or 6, I was the coolest person in the entire family to them because I knew what Pokemon was. I knew what video games were. I could talk to them about that stuff and and actually interested in the things that they had to say that they were excited about. And then when they were 10, same thing. 12, all that, same thing. Then a few years happened where I didn't see them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then we had another family gathering, and I went back, and they were like 18.
Yeah.
They wanted nothing to do with any video games at all.
Right.
And they were just like, no, that's a kid thing.
Yeah, they dropped that idea.
And I'm not talking like Pokemon. I'm just like all video games.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you can grow out of this?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, the nice thing though too is you'll also grow back into it. The things that you give up because you become like a teenager where you're like, no, I can't do that anymore. Otherwise, people think that I'm a child. And then you hit a point, usually when you're about 30, that you're kind of like, why did I give this up for like 10 years? Because I really liked doing that, but I thought if I did it, people would think I was a child. And it's like, no, when you put away childish things, you put away the idea of thinking that things can be childish in the first place.
I mean, I get that. And I know when you hit like, there's an age group where you're like, no, that's a kid thing. And you don't want to do whatever and thing. But like, I would have seen a number of people last year, and I'm pretty sure they're still not into video games really. My cousins who are more in my age group, I was like, well, they know what stuff is.
Yeah.
We all grew up around the same time.
Right.
They don't know what Twitch is.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't video game.
Yep.
And I'm like, I know I'm the nerd.
Uh-huh.
That's never been like a question, but this seems weird.
But
like I still feel like this is not quite right.
But what I love is when those like cousins or whatever come up to you and they say that, well, I've got a 16-year-old kid now, and you're like, Jesus. And they're like, yeah. And so what do you do again? And so you explain what it is that you do, and they go home and they tell them. It's like, yeah, so
I'm very cool to
your cousin Heather is a Twitch streamer and does this, and they're like, she does what? She's working for this company doing whatever. Like, you can do that?
It depends on the age group, because I've had this talk with Corey about the family members the ones that are your age who are like, oh, so and so really love that you do thing because you do video stuff. Well, they want to draw things. I'm like, that's not remotely the same, and they're not going to think that's the same either. Yes. And they tell them, and you can watch them over in the corner being like, oh, look, you're so like family member over there does whatever. And you can just see these kids, like these 13-year-olds with like this devoid look of like, so
yeah. That ain't my jam.
And whatnot. And I've definitely heard the stories from like some people where it's like, oh, you like Twitch streamers. Did you know your cousin or your aunt or your whoever does Twitch streaming? And the kid just looks back and like, well, do they know Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Well, then I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like, and I'm like, yeah, it depends.
I don't want to meet my cousin. I want to meet Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Right? Like,
it's like, sure you do.
That's the kind of thing that happens now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I'm not popular enough amongst anyone in my family, so it's fine.
Yeah. It is very funny when that comes down the pipe.
I play solo player games. I don't need any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I There's also nothing wrong, of course, with like, your 10-year-old cousins who love Pokemon and then turning 18 years old and being like, I don't play that. That's kid stuff. And I'm like, I mean, half of that sentence is fine, dude. I don't play that stuff anymore. The part that's like, it's kid stuff. I'm like,
we all go through it.
It's the largest industry in the world at this point, I think.
I mean, I remember secretly watching Sailor Moon because it wasn't popular to watch Sailor Moon amongst my age group.
Yeah.
And then secretly watching it because we were Christian and I guess we weren't supposed to or something.
But the fact that
people stopped caring eventually.
And the fact that people, I mean, you just said people stop caring. It's like, I mean, yeah, if you're somebody who did a thing and then you stop caring about that thing and you move on and your taste changed too, because I want to acknowledge that also came up in chat. It's like, people's tastes do change over time.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, that's completely normal for all of a sudden to be like, I don't like video games anymore. I like football. It's like, great.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
If that's what you want to do and that makes you happy, thank goodness. Don't get a brain injury.
It was just kind of like I went from being the coolest.
Yeah.
Because they were really young to being a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it happens.
Yeah, you were the weird cousin affectionate to the weird cousin worried.
Well, I don't think they were worried. I just don't think they had any interest in...
Dismissive?
Yeah, dismissive.
Weird cousin dismissive.
It's fine. It happens.
Yeah.
I still get to play video games. It's not like they take it away from me. It would be a bad idea to take my video games away. I have nails and a lack of caring of hurting anyone who will take things I like.
We have so many video games too. They need boxes and boxes.
They're pretty.
Yeah. They look good on shelves. Speaking of things that look good on shelves.
I saw an article or a thing, something the other day. No, I was watching a video. Right, someone was doing like a little Switch news roundup thing, and they were like, "Oh, Switch 2, blah, this, and they were like, "Oh, we found out that the Switch 2 cases are the same size as the Switch 1 cases, but they're red or whatever."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and then they said something about how this was a good thing because like things will all be the same size. And I'm like, sure, I understand. I read books, but they were like, they literally said that the Switch 1 cases looked really nice on the shelf. And I was like, you don't have enough Switch 1 cases on your shelf, my dude. Because if you did, you would see that block of red with white text is ugly as hell.
Yeah,
we need to go back to the DS cases where everything was cool and had logos on the side and was slightly bigger so you could read shit.
Yeah.
White text on red? No, it's a big block of ugly.
Yeah, it's really hard to
It is gross.
discern.
Have you gone to a store and tried to read the titles sideways? They're not legible.
Yeah.
You just said they're legible. You don't have enough Switch 1 games physically on your shelf.
I wonder if that's just as good a reason to if that's just as good a reason to be like pushing the idea of digital as well. It's like we didn't make the cases that attractive, so that's another reason to kind of drive people out of collecting physical as well. Is that they're just starting to look like so samey that I mean I don't mind that they have a style guide. They're like it has to be done this way. I'm like, thank goodness. However, yeah, it is hard when you look at a whole wall full of Switch titles and you're just like, I can't tell what any of this stuff is.
Also, I'm not sure there's a locked-in style guide because if you take like a lot of first-party games,
yeah,
and you stick them next to an indie game,
yeah.
Tell me that the label not being at the same height as the other ones isn't gonna peeve you off.
Slightly.
And sometimes they use a different font.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be, you either have to all be different or all the same.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't want to go to the thing of having I don't like how it looks on a shelf when it's like, this is a red box and then a black box and then 3 white boxes in a row and then a green box and a black box and another red box. I don't want to go back to that kind of life either, or to have thicker boxes taking up more horizontal space, which means you can fit less on a shelf, unless they also shrink the
All right,
size
but
of them
like
down.
the DS cases, while they're a little thicker,
Yeah.
because they're like half size,
Yeah,
you can double stack them.
you definitely can, which I think is kind of nice too. You can fit more in a certain area, but yeah. I feel like we should wrap up.
Okay.
Okay.
Beach is tired
I am
because he is
tired.
old.
Yeah.
And that will do it for ChillPoint today.
Bye. No. Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. All of the folks in the chat, it always makes a difference when you help us by coming to watch and spreading the word to people on our Discord or through Mastodon or all those other things that where you can do that stuff. Please encourage people to watch the things that it is that we make, and we can be
Please
supported
go
on
to
Patreon.
patreon.com/loadingreadyrun if you would like to support us with some dollary dues. There's we have a Blue Sky and a Mastodon and some places. If you're watching this on YouTube, there are links below to a bunch of different places you can go, other YouTube channels if you want to check out.
You can become a member of any of them or all of
Yeah,
them.
because you're like, I don't have enough content to watch.
Yeah.
There's other stuff to do there.
And a bunch of people support us on Twitch, and we're going to thank them after we're done here, but we're done here. So have a good day, everybody. We'll see you
Goodbye.
again next time.